Hello and welcome to another episode of Pivotal Moments with Lita. Y'all know I get so excited about these conversations, so encouraging and empowering. And of course, today is no exception. I am just so honored to have Yvette joining the conversation. I have recently met Yvette and gotten a chance to talk with her. So to have her on the show today and talk about her organization and what she's got going on in her pivotal moment is just, I'm super excited. So without further delay, I am going to turn it over and welcome Yvette. Welcome to Pivotal Moments.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite. I thank you for sharing your platform with me. It's just amazing. I love the work you're doing with the women and just empowering people and the way your heart for collaborating. I do appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Well, as I mentioned, you have a lot that you are involved in. So why don't everyone knows I let the person tell who they are and what they've got going on. So Yvette, talk about what you have going on, the things that you're doing. Let us know who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Yvette Owens, Yvette C Owens. I'm known as the business ambassador in my business. My business is Destiny Speak Inc. I help leaders create healthy cultures where everyone can thrive, because too often and most recently I've been running into people who have just been not happy. And it's not just recent, really. If we really think about it, it's happened for a long time. But I think now people are finding their voice and they're speaking out and they're knowing that they now have options because of all that we've gone through over the last 3 years. And it's just amazing that people, not only leaders who want to now create that better culture for their organization, but also individuals who have admittedly saying, look, I needed therapy for what I've gone through. I've been traumatized in the workplace or even in my organization that I've been in, whether it be a faith-based organization or what have you. And they know they need to be healed to move forward in what they really have, their purpose, right? And so I help individuals, really two tracks. One, I'm helping the leadership create that healthy culture, really understanding the talent they have in the house, on their teams, in the building, and how they optimize that according to the vision and the expected results they want. And then also empowering individuals to be able to really understand that I have a voice, I have a seat of power, and I need to really exercise that power that I have. And then really giving them the confidence, really helping them understand their value. Because first of all, if I'm still breathing, living, and the blood is still running in my veins, I have value. And so all the other stuff that we think gives us value is just extra on top of it. And so we're already ahead of the game if we're still breathing, right? And then when you consider your schooling, your experiences, your knowledge, the life experiences, not just on the job, but I know a lot of leaders who look not only on, well, where did you work or what projects did you work on, but they also look at what were your life experiences, because some of our life experiences have really prepared us, especially in this climate of what we're dealing with in the workplace. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done for several years. I'm really preparing to go into it full time right now. I'm still doing, a full-time job as I'm launching into this, and have been for several years, but now I'm preparing to do it full-time. I am kicking off a new project, a new program, a new cohort, if you will, called Destiny Speak Out Loud, where it's a program, 90-day program where individuals could become a part of a cohort where you can really get that support. But now you're seeing your value, you're taking that seat of power, and you're really understanding how to make it work for you and to really live authentically out loud, right? We talk about it a lot. We've been dreaming about it. We think about it a lot, but are we really ready to do it in whatever element that we're called to do it in, whatever arena, whatever environment. So while I'm helping and I go into organizations, I've been into academic organizations and corporate organizations, helping them to set the climate for the people and really knowing how to treat people well. That's really what we're talking about, right? How to treat people well. Then I'm also equipping people that where you are right now or where you find yourself going, that you also are not dependent on someone else affirming you, but you absolutely have confidence in what you bring to the table and that seat of power that you end up taking when you join that organization.
Woo!
And
I'm snapping. Let me make sure my snap is coming through.
yeah.
Wow. That's powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
And so I do have a podcast called Company Culture with Yvette C Owens. It goes every Thursday morning at 7:30, where I just share observations around what is really defining an organization. And again, corporate to me means whether you're in a corporate 500 Fortune 500 organization, or you could be in a faith-based, a church. Whenever people are coming together to fulfill a vision, that's corporate. And we need to make sure it's a healthy space for everyone. Everyone. Too often we've had behaviors that we have brought forward and it's not really healthy. For instance, today I just put a post out about when I was talking about Destiny Speak Out Loud. And it's like, we have to pay attention to what we're agreeing to do and not just stop, dropping, and rolling because somebody asked us to do something. And it's like, yeah, no, if it's not serving your purpose, and you have to serve your purpose first. I am also a believer in Christ. And so I believe that I'm going to have to answer to what I was given to do here on earth, right? And so in that faith arena, you have to be able to say, if he sent you here to impact business, if he sent you here to impact education, if he sent you here to impact families and governments, that's what you have to answer to, and not always helping everybody around you who's asking for your help. And I'm not meaning that you don't help people. I hope people are understanding what I'm saying in the context in which I'm saying it. But too often, we're helping everybody else with their projects and not getting along on our own projects. And that's where I love what you're doing with the collaboration, when you have like-minded and people who have visions that align themselves, then that affords itself for you to collaborate in a great way that it's a win-win. But when I'm off here doing this over here on the right, and I need to be here in the center, and on the right is really derailing me or distracting me from fulfilling what I'm doing in the center, then we need to reevaluate those times. And so when I'm trying to make sure that everybody's speaking out loud, Destiny Speak Out Loud, it's have your focus and your energy on what you're called to do first. And then you can pour out and you can release to other people. And those that you release out to should be aligned with where you're going so that you're serving. And again, please hear my heart, because I'm a servant. I do give, my time and energy, but I've learned that too often we've given our time and energy in spaces that other people really need to be handling their own business. And, really be able to handle what they're supposed to be doing, and you're carrying their weight and you're not over here carrying your own weight. And like I know, doing business, running an organization takes work. And if we focus and enter our energy where we need to be, then we won't fall astray. We won't go here or there, or what have you. So, so that's what I'm doing.
Wow. I absolutely love it. You are changing the game. That is awesome. And Yvette, of course, it's pivotal moments. So with all that said and all that you're doing, what pivotal moment will you share with us today? What has been a pivotal moment that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I came into corporate 40 some years ago, not coming from a business my family did business because my father was a music teacher. He had his own music studio, and but business wasn't the center. And so coming into corporate, and again with that mindset that people really are out to treat you well and to teach you, and because I come from educators, people around you are always trying to teach and improve you. And I learned that in business, that's not always the case. And I've had many different situations where I thought people were really there to help me, and they were not. They were not there to help me. And this was leadership.
Yeah.
So when you cannot
Wow.
depend on the leaders, and they're coaching you, but the coaching is really a beat down. The coaching is really, you're never ever going to come up to par. You're never ever going to be enough for them. Then that can be so degrading. It can be so tiring and so weary. And what really, I ended up working with a team of women, for a team of women who I looked around and they were constantly creating the space where you had to always prove yourself. Now, I had already been in the organization for 20 some years before they arrived. So I already had a reputation, which was very favorable with all levels of senior leadership and people in the organization. I was what you would call a go-to type person, and I was in leadership roles and things like that. But they came along, this group of people, and they all came. One came in, and then you know how you have people bring in their troops along with them, and they came in. And so what happened was, again, it was seeing that their practices weren't really up to par. It's like one couldn't move without the other. One couldn't speak without the posse being around. And I had never seen leadership like that before. I was like, what, you can't stand on your own 2 feet? I mean, you can't speak on your own accord. It just didn't make sense. But yet, I was being held to a higher standard. And then that real pivotal moment was I went for, and again, I'm talking 20 some years, successful years. And when I say that, I'm not just boastful. I mean, my performance reviews were all strong performance reviews. I was getting bonuses and increases on a regular basis. And so it just seemed natural for me. I mean, again, in that spirit of taking on assignments that nobody else would take on, and making them and turn them around and making them pivotal. And so maybe some of your listeners can relate to this, and this is resonating with them, because we do work hard as women. We do go in there and we are able to turn things around that other people are like, yeah, this is a loser. And then you turn it around and like, yeah, no, it's not. And you're able to salvage it, and not only salvage it, but the people feel better because you've been a part of it. So there was a promotion that was available. And I said, I just felt like it was the right time for me to go for it. And I went into this interview, and this woman who I had to interview with was 2 levels above me, but she was on my team. She was one of these women, right? And as I sat down, she said, "You're not eligible for this job. You are like a bull in a china closet. You are not going to be qualified for this job, so you shouldn't even apply." And I was like, talk about like sucker punch. You know how you like somebody just, you walk in and like, hey, and then just somebody come from behind the door and just suck. That's how I felt, right? And I was like, so I'm trying to compose myself, right, to make sure that, you don't let somebody know they got the best of you, but, and in all reality, it was like, I was not prepared for that response. And I've interviewed others. I've been known as someone who's really good at interviewing. So I know what this process is supposed to look like. And that is not it. And so I asked, well, why am I just hearing this now? Why am I just hearing this now? And she said, well, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you now. No rationale.
Oh.
And let me tell you, I talked to HR on a regular basis at that point because I had staff, right? So I had a team of 20 some people at that time. So I'm always in HR. The company was really good in that, we did even every 6 months, a performance review. So you didn't have to wait till the end of the year to figure out if you were on par. We had monthly checkpoints with your leaders. So why is this the first time I'm hearing this? And so I left that office knowing that the rank that she's in, and I'm like, well, my God, if she's saying that to me, what has she already said to other leaders in the organization? How am I being viewed elsewhere? So I had a friend who was a VP, and I called her and I said, I need to come talk to you. And I shared the situation with her. She said, look, Yvette, you need to go see see how other leaders in the organization view you. And I did that. And when I did, I'm so glad I did, because I heard things like, one, you need to get out of there and I'll help you. And I'm not talking about the woman that I went to first to say, I need to talk to you and I need to share my heart. She was a Black woman. But the other people, believe it or not, and this is why it's not a Black thing for me or a white thing for me. It's like people who have a good heart to serve people will be there for you no matter what. And so the other two were gentlemen.
Amen.
The other two were gentlemen, and they were white gentlemen. And one was my peer at one time. And then he progressed, and I ended up working for him. And he was like, you need to get out of there and I'm going to help you. So he became an ally for me, and he coached me. And then I went to another gentleman who I served. And so I worked and I serviced his organization, because we're talking about a very large organization. So my teams served his teams. And he said, I know that, Yvette, that when we came to you, we would get things done. I didn't have to worry about anything being done. But right now, I have no idea what you're doing. It's like you've been hidden for a couple of years. You need to become visible again. And so I took the advice of both of those gentlemen. They were very helpful. They both offered for me to come back and share with them my progress. If they heard anything, they would let me know. And that's how I was able to, one, not become hard-hearted against people who don't look like me, right? Because, when these things happen to us and it's an isolated thing, we like, oh, it's them. So one, I could never really get, disgruntled that way, because I had allies who didn't look like me. I had advocates who didn't look like me. I had to seek them out, but they were there. And that was a pivotal point. And I just made up in my mind that, one, I will never let, again, anybody define me, because there are people who will define you. And that's why I speak to leaders about the culture. If you don't define the culture you want in that work environment, you want your workplace to be or your church to be, then everybody else will define it for you. And so you have to define it very intentionally and continue to reinforce it. Secondly, if we as individuals don't know our identity and don't make sure that we're not making sure that people are adhering to our identity and not letting them say just anything about us or paint us in any other kind of picture. And that's even with how they say our names, because sometimes they can screw up our names, even though you told them your name over and over and over again for years. But my father was one who said, don't let anybody call you out of name. And that is including, if my name is Yvette, then my name is Yvette. And you can't call me anything else. And so it's those kind of things. It was that kind of scenario. And that was just one, right? I've had another leader who called me into a conference room and said, you are this, you are that, because of the team that I was working with. I said, I may have done this, but I am not. That does not define who I am. And we have to be very vocal about that. There is no perfect person. We should strive for excellence, but there's no one perfect. And I had a team at that time. I had a large team of project managers who just entered into the organization. And, I was trying to protect me through them, because they were new and I couldn't be the face to my business partners because my business partners knew me for many, many years and they didn't want to hear from these new people coming into the organization. So I had to kind of take a step back, but yet I had to coach my team from behind. That's a very difficult place to be because that's why people like that other gentleman felt I was hidden. Right. And so there has to be a real balance. So all of these type of scenarios have led me to make sure that I'm equipping people to be not only survive, but thrive in their role, thrive in their organization, create an environment where everyone can thrive, create an environment where you know who you are. I may have done X, but I'm not this. It doesn't define me. And guess what? We need to just keep going and supporting each other. And if I'm still here, if it was all that bad, which is what I had to say to a client just a week or so ago, they kept putting work on you. They kept telling you that, giving you more and more responsibility, but yet they're telling you that you should not even be in this role and you shouldn't even apply for another role. That doesn't add up. Because if you were all that bad, why are you still there? And so,
it's just that simple.
It's that simple. And so it's those kind of scenarios that cause me to drive me to the work that I'm doing, to empower people, to lift people up, to give them that energy, to give organizations that energy that they need, to really we spend far too much time in these places to be miserable. For people to say, Yvette, I've had to get therapy for what is happening at work, that's not right. And the workplace would say, oh, we have to be equipped because these people come in with their issues and all that kind of stuff. And some people do. But let's own up to what issues we create in people's lives because we're not treating people well.
Wow. I mean, so much powerful words. Oh my goodness. What a powerful story. And as we come to the end of this conversation, Yvette, what would you leave with people? What is your direct message? As if you haven't just already just laid out so many important gems for them. But what would you leave people with? What do you want to say directly to people if they didn't get anything else from this conversation?
Yeah. And I said this on my podcast last week, and this has been really resonating with me recently. And I think this is what I want to leave with people. Don't believe the big lie, which is you are inadequate. You are absolutely adequate. You'll absolutely bring value. Just like I started out this conversation, your value because you're still breathing. And you have purpose in you, and it's up to you. It's up to you to do the work to make sure you understand what your value and your worth is so no one else ever again underestimates it. And if you are looking for help to do that, I'm here to help you as I coach people in this space. And if you are a leader of an organization and you want to create a space where people can come as their authentic self, their true self, let's connect, because that's where you're going to get the innovation and the creativity that you want in your bringing better products, bringing better services to people. So do not buy into the lie that you're inadequate. I may not yet be what I'm all going to be, but I am not inadequate. And as long as you're still working towards what you know that you're supposed to work towards, and you're going after it, and you're making sure you're going strong, you are not inadequate.
Woo! That is beautiful, amazing. And let people know how they can find you, Yvette.
Yeah, so you can connect with me. My website is www.destinyspeak.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Yvette C Owens. That's a great place to connect with me. On Facebook, I'm Yvette C Owens, as well as Destiny Speak is on Facebook. But yeah, connect with me through that. Message me, Yvette C Owens. That's YVETTEC Owens. Or my email is vision2reality@destinyspeak.com. And my number is 860-778-8524. Again, that's 860-778-8524. And if you leave a message, I will certainly get back to you. If you DM me, I will get back to you. We are also on Instagram at Destiny Speak. Thank you again.
Wow. So everybody, we got it there. All that information that you just heard is also going to be in the show notes. So whether you are listening, watching, make sure to check the show notes to get in touch with Yvette if you want to take your business to the next level. If this whole conversation is a pivotal moment for you and you have experienced exactly what Yvette is talking about, where leadership made you feel a certain way, or you want to create an environment where everyone feels good about who they are and can thrive, then you definitely want to connect with Yvette. So Yvette, I once again thank you for coming to Pivotal Moments, enjoying this conversation. I'm so excited for all that you have going on. I know we are collaborating on things. You are going to be a part of the resource center for the My Natural Me currently in its virtual space. So I'm just so excited to be getting to know you and connecting with you, and look forward to all the amazing things that you have coming up.
Thank you so much. Can I just add one more thing? And that is,
Absolutely.
I was just asked a question on the other day, is what you do for entrepreneurs? And my answer is absolutely yes. And let me tell you why. Because if you can start out in this way and don't fall into the traps of what these bigger organizations have done and really be conscious of it along the way, you're going to excel them. You're going to have people coming to you far greater than what you think. So absolutely, entrepreneurs, as you're starting out, we need to connect. So you make sure you're starting out well with regards to the human-centric part, the human center part of what is your business, because we can't do this alone. We can't. And you need humans. And if you're going to treat them well and you know how to set up your organization well for them, all the better. So thank you again.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to working with you
You're
more.
so welcome.